The Black Friday sales have officially come to a close this week. However, Xbox have now decided to drop 4 brand new sales onto the Xbox Store, and I cannot lie to you, these are some insane deals across many games that never get discounted very often. I will apologise as that backlog is going to get even larger, but hey, at least it's almost the holiday season, so we have even more time to play these games. Remember though, I do actually give away a free Xbox game every single week on these sales videos. All you have to do is just leave a comment below and you're automatically entered. Congratulations to last week's winner. Just hit me up over on our awesome Discord server and I will get that game right over to you. With that though, let's just dive right into the deals that you need to grab for this week. First up, we have the fantastic metal Hellsinger, and this one is not your average FPS experience. It's actually a rhythm-based shooter that demands you sync your shots to the beat of a pounding heavy metal soundtrack. You then play as the Unknown, a demon on a rampage through the underworld, blasting through hellish landscapes to reclaim her voice. The game's unique mechanics rewards timing over accuracy, building score multiplayers as you tear through enemies in perfect rhythm. The musical experience is just utterly fantastic, and it really hones in that frantic and energetic gameplay and makes it such a standout FPS. It's very fast, frenetic, and unapologetically loud, but this is a genre mashup that absolutely works, and before I forget, it's visually stunning as well. At just £8.37, it's the lowest price that I've ever seen before, so metalheads and FPS fans alike should definitely not miss this deal. Metal Eden was a striking new entry into the sci-fi action genre, and I bloody love it. It is an atmospheric blend of combat, narrative, and exploration, and is also wrapped up in a dystopian world, and it really gives me some massive Doom vibes. In this one, you play as a soldier turned rebel fighting to reclaim a planet that's consumed by its own creations. The gameplay, as you're well aware from what you can see on screen, is a massive highlight here, and it just has to be, especially if it's taking inspiration from games like Doom. With that though, you can expect a lovely balance of fluid melee combat with tactical shooting that really does demand your quick reflexes and adaptability. It's very similar to the likes of Doom Eternal, and it really nails that gameplay. At £16.50 after a 50% discount, this is actually the best price we've ever seen since its launch, which wasn't actually too long ago, and it's just such fantastic value for the amount of quality and content on offer. I absolutely love my time with this one upon its release, and it's a shame it went so under the radar for many out there. Windjammers 2 did a perfect job of reviving a cult classic arcade sports game, but then introducing it with some modern flair. It's essentially a frisbee meets fighting game, so you'll face off in one-on-one matches, and you'll hurl discs at lightning speeds while performing special moves and different counters. The hand-drawn art style really pops though, with loads of vibrant colour and kinetic energy, while the soundtrack feels like pure 90s arcade adrenaline. I actually played this one all the way back when it launched, and although it has been a while since I personally played it, I remember the matches are short but very intense, making it perfect both casual play and competitive showdowns. To be honest, at the price point of just £4.20 after a whopping 75% discount, it's a fantastic pickup for party nights or just online duels, as it's simple to learn, hard to master, and impossible not to smile at. This is also the lowest price that I've ever seen on this one, and it rarely goes on sale, so it's definitely worth grabbing as soon as possible. In a future where immortality is bought, murder still finds a way, and then it's your job to investigate it. Nobody Wants to Die really put you in the shoes of Detective James Kara in a cyberpunk New York that's teetering between morality and technological progress. With crime scene reconstructions, time-freezing scanning, and also moral decision-making, it really delivered such a unique detective experience with so much layered storytelling. Visually, the fidelity here is top tier, as you're probably seeing on screen now, with so much detailed character models and cinematic presentation. The branching dialogue also adds so much weight to every interaction here, and alongside all of the subtle clues and side narratives that deepen the world building, it's such a fantastic experience. For now, it's actually 70% off, bringing it down to just £6, and that's the lowest price yet, and such a fantastic deal. It's one that I highly recommend, and I'd probably put it above every other game on this list today. Next up, we have one of my favourite AA games of this generation so far, and one that actually launched all the way back with the Xbox Series consoles when they launched in 2020. Chorus is a fantastic space combat shooter with such a cinematic twist and visual quality on offer right out the gates. This one though puts you in control of Nara, an ace pilot with a haunted past and a sentient ship which is called Forsaken. Together you'll be soaring through a stylized galaxy complete with dogfights, drifting maneuvers and psychic abilities that add so much of a supernatural edge to classic space combat. I would say if you love the likes of games like Everspace or Everspace 2, then you'll absolutely adore Chorus as much as I did. Again, this one is down to a lovely £3.37, and it's a real hidden gem that I absolutely adore, and is now dropped to an even lower price than I've ever seen it. I had a chance to review EA Sports FC 26 back upon its release, and safe to say it was a pretty decent outing from EA this time around, but it did have quite a few issues on its launch in terms of its gameplay and the increased requirement of manual defending. Well, since my review, the game has somewhat improved a little bit more, since EA have actually made many tweaks to the gameplay, and overall it's way better thanks to those changes. This week though, you can grab EA Sports FC 26 at a whopping 60% off, and for that price it's definitely worth diving into, especially if you're on the fence about it. I did say in my review that there weren't a massive amount of changes that I came to expect, but it's still a solid entry with a few changes that were definitely welcome. If you want to check out my full review, do feel free to click the link in the description below, but if you're a football fan, it's definitely worth grabbing in this week's sale. Before we do dive into the remaining sales today, I just wanted to make you all aware that I will be running a 12 Days of Xbox Nation event starting next Friday, the 12th of December, on the lead up to this Christmas. This will include stuff like daily live streams, giveaways of some fantastic prizes, and some huge videos every single day as well, so do make sure you're subscribed down below so you don't miss out. I would also love for you to join one of the fastest growing Xbox communities here on YouTube as we make our way to 80,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Thanks again for your support this 2025, and let's dive back into the deals you need to grab for this week. This one's a bit of a hidden gem, and even though it's slightly older now, it's definitely worth diving into in 2025. Outward is a hardcore open world RPG that throws you into the wild with no handholding, and that's exactly why I love this one. It's not about being a hero or a prophecy, it's instead about surviving, managing your hunger, disease, stamina, and then just learning from your failures. What really stands out though is just how grounded it feels. You're not actually slaying dragons in one hit, instead you'll be planning your next journey, prepping potions, and maybe praying you don't get ambushed at night time. It's rough around the edges for sure, but if you like immersive sims or old school RPGs, this is the kind of game that rewards your time and efforts. It's challenging, immersive, and totally unique, and at just £5.24, the Definitive Edition also includes all of the DLC, some extra quality of life updates, and it's just so justified to grab this game for this week. Wargroove 2 carries the spirit of classic tactics games, but instead adds a lurid charm that's entirely its own. With its vibrant pixel art, expressive commanders, and cleverly designed campaigns, this one makes the sequel feel more confident and polished than the original. Each faction also brings unique mechanics to the table, and a new roguelike conquest mode actually keeps battles very fresh and unpredictable with its encounters and evolving armies. What really did shine to me though is just the accessibility right out the gate here, as newcomers like myself when I dived into this one can actually learn the fundamentals pretty quickly, whilst the veterans of this franchise can dive straight into the deep strategy elements, its map creation, and the community-made scenarios. This is a generous package that's bursting with so much replayability. It's uplifting, colourful, and endlessly tactical, and is such a great modern tribute to turn-based strategy games. I have mentioned it before, but Echo Generation was one of my favourite games from developer Coco Cucumber, and it honestly feels like a childhood summer adventure that's retold through a VHS filter and sprinkled in with some supernatural weirdness. This one is actually set in a small Canadian town, and it follows a group of kids that are uncovering some bizarre events. The turn-based combat is simple but very satisfying, and it does actually rely on timing-based inputs similar to the classic Paper Mario or even the most recent Expedition 33. The voxel art style the devs are really known for here gives everything an endearing diorama vibe, while the simp soundtrack wraps the entire journey in just such cozy nostalgia. It's not a long game by any means, but it is packed with a lot of heart, humour, and inventive encounters, and for just £6.29, it's a delightful indie gem. If you did miss it on Xbox Game Pass, it's definitely worth buying, especially as Echo Generation 2 will arrive sometime in 2026. Created by the original mind behind XCOM, Phoenix Point pushes tactical strategy into unsettling territory with enemies that mutate in response to your actions. The alien threat in this one isn't static like the XCOM series, and instead it adapts, grows, and forces you to rethink your tactics constantly. Missions in this instance really emphasize precision with free aim shooting, allowing you to target limbs, weapons, or even weak points. Layered on top of that though is a sprawling global strategy where you'll be managing different factions, defending havens, and conducting research, and as all whilst deciding which alliances are worth the political cost. For £7.50, you're getting a very deep, evolving strategy experience that rewards your experimentation and long-term planning. It certainly may not be perfect in terms of its polish compared to the likes of XCOM, but it still works pretty well, especially from what I've played of this one. Ride 5 is a great motorcycle racing game, and it's one that I've played now for about 30 hours or so. To me, this one really is for the players who want more precision, realism, and the thrill of motorbike racing, but distilled into pure simulation. Like the previous entries before it, every bike feels distinct, and learning how to handle them becomes a satisfying mastery curve. The career mode is also pretty extensive this time, as it offers structured progression, a ton of rivalries, long distance endurance challenges, and striking global tracks recreated with some impressive fidelity. Visually, this game is one of the best looking racing games that I've personally ever played, and it even did the rounds over on social media by looking that lifelike. At £9, this is an unbelievably cheap entry into one of the most polished motorcycle sims available on Xbox to this day. Supraland 6 Inches Under is what happens when a Metroidvania, a puzzle game, and a comedy sketch get thrown into a blender. This one is set beneath the sandbox of the original game, but everything is miniature but bursting with creativity. The puzzles here are very clever without feeling obtuse, often requiring you to rethink physics, perspective, or abilities in ways that make you laugh when the solution clicks. Combat in this one is pretty simple but energetic, and it serves as fun breaks between all of the exploration. The writing though leans into playful absurdity as well, and it's what breaks that fourth wall, ripping on video game tropes and surprising you with jokes in places you'd never expect. It's an imaginative, joyful adventure, and it's perfect for players who love discovery and light-hearted weirdness. Discounty is a chaotic supermarket simulator where the everyday shopping experience spirals instantly into organised madness. It's actually been rated incredibly highly by many who've played it, and friends of the channel Switch Up even said this is an essential pickup for you to play right now. To give you an idea of the gameplay though, instead of simply stocking shelves, you're instead juggling absurd customer demands, alongside all of the wobbly physics and a constant stream of tasks piling up faster than you can say clean up on aisle 4. The humour is very dry and delightful as well, as customers behave like gremlins with credit cards, and your carefully arranged displays collapse for absolutely no reason at all. For just under £13, it's an offbeat gem perfect for any of you who enjoy slapstick chaos wrapped inside a deceptively wholesome premise. The Metro Exodus Gold Edition is a fantastic deal for this week, as not only does it pack in the base game, but it also contains both story expansions into a single atmospheric journey across post-apocalyptic Russia. What really did set Exodus apart though was its pacing, as there's long stretches of quiet exploration broken by sudden white-knuckle encounters that remind you how fragile life is outside your train. Each region feels like a self-contained survival story as well, with loads of frozen wastelands, sun-blasted deserts, forested nightmares, and they're all dripping with detail and environmental storytelling. The Gold Edition's DLCs also add so much emotional weight, and there's some of the series' finest writing. At just under £6, it's absurdly good value for a package this polished, and I still can't believe it's this ridiculously cheap. I was very surprised when Valheim left Xbox Game Pass, but for a price of just £7.74 this week, you need to pick it up as soon as possible. If you are somehow unfamiliar with Valheim, it turns Viking survival into something atmospheric, meditative, and strangely peaceful. The world is actually procedurally generated, with loads of rolling meadows, misty swamps, and snow-covered mountains, and they do hide bosses that are inspired by Norse mythology. The crafting and building mechanics are some of the best within the genre, and it lets you create entire villages with surprising architectural freedom. The progression system also feels pretty straightforward, and it's also pretty natural, and essentially has you exploring new biomes, gathering new materials, crafting better gear, and then slowly pushing you deeper into its dangers. You can attack this one solo or with your friends, but the game creates some unforgettable emergent stories, and it's an easy pickup for this week. What game tickles your peach in this week's Xbox Store sale? You'll have to let me know down below. Of course, the Black Friday sales have also ended, but I'd be keen to hear what you've picked up over the last couple of weeks as well. Remember to smash that like button if you enjoyed videos like this, and do subscribe as well, as I will be bringing, of course, the 12 days of Xbox Nation and more sales videos like this on a weekly basis. If you do want to check out some more awesome Xbox content though, and you're sticking around here on the channel, why don't you check out the video on screen now? I recently covered 15 brand new Xbox and Game Pass games that have just been announced over the past couple of days, and it's certainly worth checking, as there's some fantastic titles coming our way into next year.